Have you ever just looked around and felt like we're living in, I don't know, maybe the most critical, high-stakes moment in all of human history? Well, it turns out that feeling isn't just you being anxious. It's actually a pretty accurate read of our situation. We are living through a kind of final exam, a transition so dangerous it's going to decide the entire future of life and consciousness that started here on Earth.
Okay, so let's dive into that idea. This quote from the philosopher Nick Bostrom just hits the nail on the head. It perfectly captures our dilemma. It's like we're a teenager who's just been handed the keys to a ridiculously fast supercar. We're brilliant enough to have built these world-altering technologies, AI, genetic engineering, nuclear weapons. But the real question is, are we mature enough to handle them without crashing and burning?
And to really get a handle on the scale of our situation, we first have to look up and just listen. Listen to that great cosmic silence.
This question is right at the heart of what's called the Fermi paradox. I mean, think about it. Our galaxy has billions of planets that could be like Earth, and many of them are billions of years older than we are. So statistically, the sky should be buzzing with signals from advanced civilizations. And what do we hear? Nothing. Absolute silence. And that quiet, it's kind of spooky. It suggests that making the jump from just an intelligent species to a long-lasting, star-faring one might be incredibly, incredibly rare.
And that's where this idea of the Great Filter comes from. It's this theory that there's some kind of challenge, some barrier that almost no civilization ever gets past. So the big question is that filter behind us, something we already conquered in our distant past? Or, and this is the thought that'll keep you up at night, what if the filter isn't behind us? What if it's directly ahead?
And that cosmic mystery brings us right back down to Earth. Because a lot of evidence suggests that we are living inside that great filter. Right now, this is it. This is our high-risk adolescence.
For 99% of human history, the biggest threats to us came from nature. But just look at these numbers. The odds of a giant asteroid or a supervolcano causing an extinction-level event in the next 100 years? They're incredibly low, tiny, less than 1/10%. For the most part, we've kind of conquered the dangers of the natural world.
Okay, now look at this slide. This is where things get really interesting, because the source of risk has shifted dramatically. The danger isn't coming from out there anymore. It's coming from us. The probability of a global nuclear war, a misaligned superintelligent AI, and by that I mean an AI that gets so smart it harms us in ways we can't even predict, or a lab-engineered pandemic, these risks are orders of magnitude higher. We have become our own greatest threat.
And this number, this is the gut punch. When you combine all of those man-made threats, the total probability of a global collapse or even a partial extinction event in the next 100 years is somewhere between 30 and 45%. Let that sink in. That is basically a coin flip on a civilizational scale.
So why, right? Why are we creating risks that could literally wipe us out? Well, the answer isn't in our technology. It's in our biology. It's a fundamental mismatch between our ancient brains and the modern dangers we've created. You can think of your brain like an old city, built in layers over millions of years. The oldest part, the reptilian brain, that just handles basic survival. The next layer, the limbic system, that's where our emotions and our tribal identity come from. And then there's the newest part, the neocortex, where logic and long-term planning happen. The problem? Well, the older, more reactive, more emotional systems, they're usually the ones in the driver's seat.
And that creates the central problem of our time. Our biological hardware, our brains, are running on these ancient instincts, built for small tribe survival out on the savannah. But we've installed godlike software on top of it, AI, genetic engineering, nuclear power, that this hardware was just never designed to manage. It's a massive, planetary-scale mismatch.
Now, this flaw inside our own heads, it gets amplified a lot when you look at our global decision-making systems. And it leads to this massive intelligence failure. It turns out we are, as a group, much less smart than our smartest people.
So think about the peak intelligence that exists in our global system. Our top scientists, our most powerful AI models. Let's just say that potential problem-solving power has an IQ somewhere between 150 and 200. This is the raw brain power we have at our disposal. It's genius-level stuff.
But, and this is a huge but, that peak intelligence gets worn down. You can think of it like entropy loss. Our potential gets drained away by political friction, by geopolitical conflict, by nationalism, and by economic competition.
All these inefficiencies just subtract from our collective ability to make smart, long-term decisions.
And the result of all that loss is, well, it's staggering. The functional IQ of our global civilization, the intelligence it actually operates with day to day, is estimated to be between 95 and 110, just average. We have a genius-level ability to create problems, but only an average ability to collectively solve them. And that is a dangerous combination.
So this intelligence gap, it puts us at a critical crossroads. When scientists model the next 100 years, they don't see one single future. They see three very different probable paths. We have a choice to make.
So this is it. This is our future, laid out in probabilities. Now, the most likely path, thankfully, is called transformation. That's where we actually succeed. But partial collapse and even self-termination, they have terrifyingly high chances. So let's break down what each of these really means.
Okay, the best case scenario is transformation. This is the we made it timeline. This is where we finally grow up as a species. We figure out how to govern AI globally, we achieve stable, clean energy, maybe through fusion, and we become a multiplanetary species, creating a backup for humanity. This is us passing the test.
The second path is a partial collapse. Now here, we don't go extinct, but our global civilization as we know it, it just crumbles. Think about the fall of the Roman Empire, but on a planetary scale. Supply chains break, nations break apart, we lose access to high technology, and humanity basically gets reset to a post-industrial dark age.
And then there's the darkest path, self-termination. This is where we fail the test. Completely. A misaligned AGI, a true thinking machine that outpaces us, a full-scale nuclear war, or a bioengineered plague leads to our extinction. This is the silent planet hypothesis made real. The Earth keeps spinning, but the intelligent life that created all this technology is just gone. And sitting right at the heart of this choice is AI. It's the great catalyst. It's not our destiny, but it is an accelerant. It's going to dramatically speed up our journey towards one of these three futures. It's going to force our hand, forcing us to resolve this whole adolescence thing, one way or another. But it won't choose the path for us. That responsibility, that's still on us. So it's easy to hear all this and feel kind of doomed, right? But we shouldn't see this as some prophecy of doom. We should see it for what it actually is, the final evolutionary test for our species. I mean, this sentence just perfectly sums up the test we face, doesn't it? We have to close this gap between our technological power and our social and moral wisdom. The question is, can our primate instincts for cooperation and looking ahead win out over our instincts for fear and tribalism? In the end, it all boils down to this one single question. The choices we make in this century will decide whether we become the ancestors of a long-lasting, maybe even cosmic civilization, or if we just become a thin radioactive layer in the ground for some future species to dig up. The choice is ours.